is Paranormal Encounters, and I'm your host, Brenda McGee. Today I have a very special guest. Her name is Darlene Filosa. She's a very talented psychic medium. Darlene, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
I love it. So I'd like for you to start off and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I have been doing this work professionally for about 11 years now. I started in Florida and decided to relocate back up to the New England area.
Yikes,
originally
really?
from outside of Boston, so it was nice to come back up to Newport and be in the New England area. Love the change of seasons. And I have an actual full-time job, plus I do this on the side and have my own business up here doing that.
So what is it that you actually do?
I am a psychic medium. So I connect with those that have passed over and enjoy making sure that I connect those on the other side with those that are here that may not have had closure. And I find that gives people a great feeling.
Yeah.
And it makes a difference. And that's the most important thing, is making a difference and making sure that they feel that connection.
And that is such a beautiful way to look at things, and that's what people look for, is they want closure, but they also they know that there is life after this. It gives them hope that there is life after this.
Yes.
And
yes.
that they just don't go somewhere or when they're in the ground, that's it. Life ends.
Yes.
So when you first started, what was your age when you first saw things?
Wow. I was 11, and it was an aunt. I have an aunt that's a medium, and she helped develop me and to understand what was going on with me at the time. And it was it was a great experience. And you find that at that age, many years ago, too far back, I'd hate to say, but we were able to, she helped cultivate that. And she was around when the Uri Geller was around, which was many years ago. And she helped develop and cultivate some of the things that I was starting to see and get into. Wow. And so it was really an interesting time for me. And you found that people used to consider my aunt a little bit out there because of this work.
Right.
And so she was known for being the kind of like not always there, but she had some great following and she had some great advice. She really mentored me along the way in the last, 40 plus years of my life. And so it's been really good. And through my life, I've had to shield and had to hide sometimes some of the things because the family didn't know. They didn't look upon it as being normal.
Yeah.
And so you had to really, I sort of buried it for quite some time.
Wow.
So about maybe 15 years ago, I started to come out a little bit more. And in the last 11 years, I've really decided that this was what I needed to do.
That's amazing.
And have acceptance from my family.
Which is so important, but then you get to the point where it's like, you know what, I know this is a gift from God, so I'm going to just do it. But I get it, because I had the same thing happen with me. And we do shut it. It's funny that you say that, because mine started about the same age. Yes. My mother was actually, gifted. She didn't say anything, but then when I, saw when we moved into the home that there was a woman floating, into another bedroom, and my mother's like, oh boy, okay, we need to have a talk, But then at a certain age, you do shut it down because it gets so overwhelming.
Yes.
And it's funny, when we're older, it's when we open up. Was there a situation that happened to make you want to open it back up, or is it just wanted to, you know what I mean?
As far as trying to get out into the world and really saying, okay, this is what I want to do, or this is what I need to do, because this is what God is directing me to do, is about my mother passed in 2003 of pancreatic cancer. And at that time, I was going through a lot of different emotions, and there was a medium that was helping me. I was going to a spiritual store, and it sort of said, woke me up and said, I need to do this.
Wow.
And so it was at that point in time, I said, this is my calling, this is what I need to do, and really worked from there, and that's where it's gone from there. So
That's what made me open-minded when my mother passed. How crazy is that?
that is, you
You're
we got along
saying
for a
this,
reason.
and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so familiar.
Yes.
But it is.
Yeah.
That's how it happens. Now, when you say you work with spirit, I know you do the mediumship reads. Do you do galleries?
I do galleries. I enjoy doing a small gathering if I'm going to do. I'm very funny about certain things, and the reason I say that is I want to make sure who's ever in front of me gets a message. That is a very important thing to me, because when you come to me, or I've got 15 or 20 people in front of me, and everyone is saying, are they going to talk about my mom, my brother, my sister, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, whatever the case may be, you want to know when you leave here that you have a message from them to know that they're okay. And that's important to me. So when I've done galleries, I do a very small gathering and make sure that every single person has a message when they walk out the door.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. Now, when you contact spirit, talk with spirit, do you see them in your mind's eye, or do you see them?
I see them they come to me in different ways. I will see them in my mind's eye. I will see them in different directions. So sometimes I'm looking at somebody, like if I'm looking at you, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, here comes, your grandmother from spirit, and she might be coming here, but then you may have an uncle that's coming from this side over here. And it's just an interesting way that they present themselves. And then what ends up happening, I end up taking on physical attributes that they had. So if they're nervous, they had a nervous way about them, they moved a certain way, then I would take that on. And then that person in front of me would know that I'm actually connecting with them, because I'll say, okay, I don't do this. I don't do this.
Right.
And they're very aware of the fact that I am connecting with whoever that was in spirit for them.
Do you ever get phone calls when people say, I think I have a spirit in my home? Have they ever asked you to check it out? And
I have had a few different people come to me and ask me about what's going on with my home, what's going on here. And it's interesting. Some people think there's going on, but they're not sure they really want you in there too. It's like, I don't know if it's because they're afraid I'll find something,
right,
or that it might be their imagination. But it's a lot of times I have gone into a home and you will sense that something may be going on. So I would say also one of the things I did recently is I did a private ghost tour with the Paranormal Investigations that we did at the Newport Elks Club.
That place is real haunted. I knew that once I walked in there when at the fair.
Yes.
I knew right when I walked in, right when I pulled into the parking lot.
Yes.
I felt the energy.
It's amazing. And it was really interesting. One night I was there preparing for a fair that we do there and do events there. And I kept getting these names. And I'm like, okay, it's driving me crazy. So I wrote down the names, got everything together. And when I went on the investigation, I talked about the names, and the group that was doing the investigation, that was holding it, was their mouths dropped open because they said, that's one of the names that came through.
Wow.
So it's interesting how it all pulls together, and they are trying to connect with us in some way.
More so.
Yes.
Now it seems, I don't know, I know Mercury was just in retrograde and everything like that, but it just seems a lot of people that are coming to me also are, I don't know what's going on, I'm seeing things, things are happening. So they're really becoming, making themselves really known.
Right. And it's very much a little more mainstream today. And I talk about that, in the day that I was 30 years ago or so, when my aunt was, practicing and kind of doing a lot of this stuff, it wasn't as mainstream as it is today. It's a little bit more acceptable if you talk about mediumship, spiritual, it's a little more accepted. So I think that's because it's being more accepted, there's more people seeing that out there.
It's so important to go to the ones that you know are giving you, you know, the right information, the right guidance, and things like that. 'Cause
Absolutely.
you know, it can be, you know, some people can, they really are looking for something and they really need something, and you always want them leaving where they're happy, content, and their heart is full.
And I will tell you that one of the big things I find with this gift is it does have a lot of responsibility, a lot of personal responsibility.
That's for sure.
And I find that sometimes maybe that's not necessarily the truth with some things, some people, or some things that happen out there. But you have a big sense of responsibility to me, and I'm sure you do as well, that the person that you're in front of, you want to make sure that they walk out and feel, okay, I just experienced something
Right.
that was real. I feel I'm sad because I connected with whomever, but I feel good because I did connect with whomever.
Right.
And I know they're in a better place. And that's hard for people to sometimes hear, especially when they have just lost somebody.
Yeah.
So it's a really hard balance to make sure people feel comfortable and know that their loved ones are in a better place.
Now, I need to ask you this because people always ask me, have you seen heaven? Did spirits tell you what heaven? Does your mom ever tell you what heaven's like? Or you probably don't even ask that question.
I don't even ask that question. My mother was a very, very spiritual, religious person. And she woke up every morning for like 5 days asking, I'm still here? And wanted to go home so badly. And it was a testament to what's on the other side.
Right.
So I never question what's there on the other side, because I honestly believe that it is definitely 150% better than where we are today.
Well, you know, I have a friend, Roland Comtois.
Yes.
And
Wonderful person.
whenever he channeled, because he did die, and then they brought him back. Mm-hmm. And whenever he would channel, he would say, I wish you could see how beautiful it is there. And it's like you know, and I really know, and I always tell people, I'm not afraid to die. That's when we go home.
Yes.
But people ask that. You know, you speak to people that have passed, but do they ever talk about heaven? Or it's like, no, because it's just you're there to give the message to the person and things like that.
That is correct, yes.
Now, how would someone get into contact with you?
So they could get in contact with me either by my telephone number, which was 561-376-7297. It is a Florida exchange, but a lot of people have that number, so I'm going to keep that. And I also have a website, soulinspirations.biz. And they can email me, soulinspirations9@gmail.com.
Awesome. To make appointments.
Do you
have a place that you do?
I do. I have my own studio where I do appointments. I do all my work out of that studio. It is in Newport, Rhode Island. And it's a fabulous old church building that I work out of. It's got so much character, and I have a lot of good energy going on in there.
Oh, I can imagine. Mm-hmm. We always have good energy, don't we? Well, most of the time.
Yeah. Most of the time. Sometimes there's times when my friend would disagree with that.
Yeah. Have you ever seen like a negative energy or come across, you know, because some people say, I mean, I've seen, you know, good and bad, because I have a paranormal team. So we do house clearings and blessings and things like that. Mm-hmm. So we have seen the negative part of it, but I know some people don't believe that there is negative energies.
Oh, absolutely.
You know
absolutely.
what I mean?
And one of the things I really do when I do my work is I actually, put a great big white light of bubble around me of God's energy, so I'm protected. But I would say absolutely there's negative energy. And I would say to you that for me, and I'm sure for you, Brenda, is when you are around people that are like that, that you have to get away.
You do.
You can't be next to them. You want to move. You hear things. And when I go out to eat in a restaurant, it's very difficult for me sometimes because you're hearing and seeing, and you sometimes are compelled to listen over here. You're picking up so many things.
Right.
And if there's negative energy that's even worse, then I have to leave. And it can sometimes be a little bit of a challenge for the people you may be with, because you'll be like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Now, do you do the, if you see something with someone that you go up to them, or do you just like, no, I'm going to enjoy myself?
Well, I would say that's a tough one to answer, because I will go to the person. If I really am compelled to a point where I think this person needs that message, then I will go to them and I'll say, you don't know me.
Right.
And say, I will give them the message. And sometimes it's funny because my friend and I will be out, and I'll go into this whole thing, and she'll be like, what are you trying to do? And I had to go up to her and tell them. So, I make sure that I try and tell them, because if somebody from Spirit is really trying to get my attention,
yes,
and they won't let it go,
right,
there's a reason that they have to have that message.
And I'm so glad you said that, because I think it's important. If you're getting a message, or I think it's important to tell that person.
Absolutely.
You get some people where they'll be like, they'll hand them the card and say, there's spirit around you. Here's my card. Get in touch with me. I've seen that happen. And I'm like, are you kidding me? But I think that, my sister will say to me, if I'm, like, I'll start the energy, I'll be like, oh, they'll know when something's going on. And my sister will go, oh, please don't pull a Teresa Caputo on me. You're not going to do that, are you? I'm like, no.
It's so true. And again, my close friend is this, she'll do the same thing. She'll be like, oh, here we go, Long Island medium. But it's hard. And for me, again, if you've got that gnawing little spirit that's saying, contact them.
Right.
And it's right. It's like they'll be slapping you almost upside the head. You got to say something.
They will. And or they'll be like, won't leave you alone. And you'll just feel like, a lot of times, being an empath, I feel how they passed. Yeah. So if it's like a really bad way that they passed, I will feel that until I say something, and until the person will validate that it makes sense with them.
Right.
So sometimes it's a lot of suffering. And so I'm like, no, I have to get rid of this. So I have to say something, or I'll just be like, someone needs to claim this energy, because it's really getting to me. And then I'll say, if you don't want a message or anything, just say that this person resonates with you, and we'll be all set.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's great that you do the same thing. That's what we're here for.
I do, but you have such a... I am so intimidated by the title psychic medium. Because I always say, you know why? Because I only do that mainly when I'm doing readings, when I'm doing tarot readings. But if someone says to me, Brenda, are you a medium? I'll say, no, that title's too, I don't know. I guess I'm afraid to say that I could walk into a place or a gallery and say, give them the message. I don't know what that is, but...
So it's just a matter of stepping up into your own.
Right.
And owning it, because you have that gift.
Right.
And, you and I have definitely spoken before.
Right.
So I know that you do have that gift, and it's just stepping into it and owning it, because for quite a few years, it took me a while to say, I'm a medium. And
right.
You're like, okay, wait a minute, did I just really say that?
Right.
But having a business and having a book of clientele says to me, well, you're doing something. I'm validated by having that. And when people come to me, I have clients still in Florida that will only call me for readings.
That's amazing.
So it's nice to have that and that validation. So I think that it's just feeling the confidence of saying, I am a medium, and staying owning it is the best way I can describe it, Brenda, because you definitely have it.
Well, that's I guess I do say it to people that I know or whatever. And if I go into a home, it's a totally different story. I can tell them. It's almost like seeing a movie play. I remote review and I see the spirits there, and I'm comfortable in that kind of zone.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess until I get to the point where I'm comfortable in saying, but I do it.
You do it right.
But you, on the other hand, you are just so amazing, and your gifts are amazing. And I know you've helped so many people.
Thank you.
And that's why I wanted you on my show, because I just think it's important for people to be, with the right type of people that I know that I don't know, I guess it's like a circle that we feel attracted. Like when I go in a place, I always go with the person's energy, not if I know them or anything like that.
Right.
And it's so important that's why I always like to have people that I can refer people to. Even I'll tell them, my clients, nope, you need to go to this person because this is exactly what you need, like a catalyst.
And I think that's important too, is that you have, and I agree with you, because I know some of my clients that come to me all the time, and you say to yourself, when I say all the time, if they see me in an affair, I got to go to you.
Yes.
And I'm like, try this person, or I've heard this person's really great, you need to go to that person.
Right.
And I think it's important because, again, there's enough for everybody to share the wealth of that.
Yes.
And I think that if people that hone into keeping everything to themselves, that's not a good thing. And
no, because then you get too comfortable with people and things like that.
And, I'm so glad I met you 2 or 3 months ago at an event, and I know that when I did a reading for you, I picked up immediately that you knew how to do it. And and it was great because, it's sitting in just because you know how to do it, sometimes you need to have something for yourself, because we can't read ourselves.
No.
We just can't.
We can't. It's hard. I mean, we can do as best we can and know, all right, we'll find confidence in that. But a lot of times we need somebody else to say. Now, do you have certain hours? Are you on like an on-call thing, or do you have set hours of where you read?
No, I actually it's on call.
Awesome.
So anybody that would want an appointment just needs to give me a call, and then we'll make out an arrangement of when we meet. I do a lot of parties. I find that helps out sometimes. Instead of people coming to necessarily my studio, that I'll go to them if they have a group of people, and that works out nice. So if you give me a call or send me an email, we'll work out an arrangement of when I can go and we can meet either at my studio or at your place.
That's great.
So
that's great.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited. So thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I'm so glad to have you here. And if anybody wants to get in touch with Darlene, you have her information, or you can email me at paranormalencounterstv9. No, sorry about that. paranormalencounterstv9@gmail.com. And thanks for watching. Thank you.
Thank you very much.